Hello everyone, welcome back to Kirklees Guitar School. In today's guitar lesson, I'm going to show you a beginner's version of Stand By Me by Ben E. King. This is a great one for getting your chord changes going, and I've got a cool little mute thing that I want to show you. If you head to the first link in the description, that'll take you to my website where you can download a PDF that goes with this lesson completely for free. No sign-ups, no monkey business. Literally head there and download the PDF for free. It's got all the chord charts and the chord shapes that you're going to need to get this lesson over the line. If you like the way that I teach, I'd urge you to check out the Kirklees Guitar School Academy, which you can find from the second link in the description. The Kirklees Guitar School Academy provides extra resources for the lessons that I do here on YouTube, including a technical focus lesson that's song specific, and a full playthrough where you can see me playing along with the song, exactly how I do it with scrolling tabs, and a downloadable backing track. Alongside that, every course and every other piece of paid content that I've ever made, you can check out there, and it's all included in the package. You can get that with a 14-day free trial from the second link in the description. So, what are we up against? Well, like I said, this has got a cool little muting thing which I'm going to show you, and it's got 4 chords in it, but really important, I'm using a Capo on the 2nd fret. So I'd urge you to get, if you haven't got one, get hold of one or get one out of your gig bag. So these are the chords that we're up against today. We've got a G chord, we've got an E minor chord, we've got a C chord, and then we've got a D chord. And we're essentially going to play each of these 4 chords for 2 bars each throughout the entirety of the song. Now I'm going to show you this slide at the top of the PDF, and it might look a little bit overwhelming to start with. Now what I've done is I've actually put the proper sheet music in the way that it should be written. This isn't as scary as it looks. Essentially we've got 2 strokes on each bar, and this is repeated 8 times. That's why there's so much, it looks like there's so much on the page. So let's just break that down then. Let's have a go with this G chord. If you remember, Capo on the 2nd fret, if you fret this G chord for me, that's what your G chord should sound like. Right, can you see there's 3 notes in this slide. There's one here, there's one here, and there's one here. I'd like you to just ignore this fella over here for a second, and I'll come back over here. It's the ones with the little, can you see it looks like a little staple above it? That little staple, or bridges sometimes people call them, that indicates that you're going to do a downstroke. So essentially all we have to do is do 2 downstrokes, just going to do 2 downstrokes on each bar. Just try that for me at home. Okay, great. What's this funny little squiggle in between the 2 strokes mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. That's called a rest. Now, a rest in music means that we want to physically stop our guitars from ringing out and making any noise whatsoever. So in between those 2 strokes, I want you to physically touch the strings of the guitar. Where are we? There. Physically touch the strings of the guitar to stop it from making noise. So you're going to play this with a downstroke. We're then going to touch the strings of the guitar to stop it from ringing out, and then we're going to strike it one more time. Sounds like this. So that sounds more like the record now, doesn't it? And I'm borrowing from the bass player. Try that for me. And when I'm strumming, I'm not muted with this hand. I'm using the bottom of my palm of my strumming hand to physically touch the strings of the guitar to kill it, to stop it from ringing out. Okay, so we've got the 2 strokes, but what about this fella over here? We said we'd come back to it. Now, can you see? There's 3 notes here, but I'm only strumming twice, and there's only 2 little staples that tell us to strum twice. That's because this note's called a tie. If you have a look at the note in the middle and the note at the end, can you see how they're like bridged by this sort of like line? Now I call them washing lines. They're not washing lines, it's called a tie. Ties in music are a way for you to connect 2 notes together to create a length of time that we don't currently have a note for. Okay? We're essentially stitching a note that lasts for 2 beats and a note that lasts for half a beat to create 2.5 beats total. So when you see a note that's tied, I want you to strum this second strum here, and then I just want you to hold it for the rest of the bar. Because it's tied, we don't need to play it a second time. But you're going to see, if I go back a slide, can you see how this tie comes at the end of every bar? The way I want you to look at this and the way I want you to visualise it is, I'd like you to just think of it as 2 strokes with the rest in the middle of each bar, and I just want you to sort of plead ignorance over here. Now, not because I want you to ignore it, but you just need to let this second note ring out a fraction longer than you normally would. So what does all that look like? It looks like this. E minor. You got a bar of C, a bar of D, and then 2 bars of G. So to say we're only strumming each note, each chord twice per bar, it starts to sound really impressive. So let's pick that apart a little bit. Let's have a look at those first 4 bars. So we've already ascertained that this G chord, you're going to strum it twice with the rest in the middle, and you do exactly the same here. So try that. Try 2 bars of G back to back. From there, I want you to take your G chord, I want you to keep your index finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, and I want you to put the 2nd fret of the string beneath it, the D string. Notice I'm still doing those mutes. To E minor. Now if you have a look, from this second stroke that you're playing and the tied note, you've loads of time to get ready for the next chord. And if you need to sort of chop a little bit, if you need to sort of cut this down a little bit, you know, you cut this bar short, I mean, so that it gives you enough time to move on to the next bar. I'm completely cool with that. So have a go at that before we have a look at the next bit. So you got G, G, yeah, G, G, E minor. And this is still in the intro, mind, but this is we're gonna pick up the pace shortly. But we've got 1 bar of C to D, and then back to G. So can you see how it's just the same thing, round and round and round? Now that's pretty much for the verse and the chorus, all the verses and the choruses of the song. That's what I'd like you to play. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, if you can for me, now that we've broken that down, either pause the video and use the sheets that you've downloaded from the website, or you can pause the video here, and I just want you to spend a decent amount of time here. The more time you spend here, the easier the rest of the song's going to come. And I want you the speed's not important, it's you getting that rest in the right place will make it sound like the song. If you're feeling brave, we'll move on. Can you see the verse? The verse is identical to the intro. So we'll play this. This is at the top of the PDF. You'll then get here and he starts singing "When the Night Has Come." The only thing that's different here that we haven't spoken about prior is you see this funny looking bracket here at the very beginning, and then if you have a look in the bottom right of this slide, can you see how it's just the same as the funny little bracket, like double bracket? That's called a repeat marker. So what that means is this verse, I would like you to play the verse twice for me, please. Everything kind of corned off in between the brackets, we're to play twice. Whenever you come to repeat markers, you always assume that you play whatever's between them twice, unless it says otherwise. Occasionally you might see like ×3, ×4, ×8 above it. If it doesn't tell you, if it doesn't specify how many times you need to repeat it, it's literally just twice through. So everything that's on the screen, I want you to play twice. And if you've done your job right, you should then go to the chorus and you should hear him singing, "Darling, darling, stand by me." You should be at that part, okay? Again, just the same. The verse and the chorus for this song, you're going to spend 80% of this song playing the same thing round and round and round. But what I would like you to do in those choruses, I want you to introduce what we call dynamics, where if your verses sound like this, nice and chill, your choruses want to be more Can you hear how I'm just being a little bit heavy-handed, and I want to make it sound like a chorus in a song. A chorus in a song wants to have a lift. It definitely wants to be louder than the previous part. So if you're looking for some extra stuff to do with this, have a go at that. So we've got, following that, we've done verse, we've done chorus, we have another verse and another chorus. So we've probably spent the past 2 minutes sat on the same progression, depending on whether it's a verse or a chorus, dictates how hard you hit it. Now, to save you playing the same thing for the entire song, I thought, what can we do because there's an instrumental section that follows. It's like some violins and a string section, I think, that does like a nice little melody which breaks the song up. And I'm like, I could tell you guys to just do the same thing, but that'd be boring. And if you've come this far, you're probably itching to do something else after the 2 minute mark of the song. So what I want to introduce is, I'd like to introduce the instrumental section. I'm gonna put a strumming pattern in, which I call down, down, up, up, down. Now this is it's a really common pattern. If you've seen any of my lessons before of a similar level to this one, you've probably come across this. I have also got a lesson on this where I break just the pattern down. I'll put that in the description if anyone's struggling with it. I will quickly take you through it now. But the crux of this is the instrumental section. You see how we've got repeat markers? We're going to play this twice, but the rhythm has changed. The chords are identical, 2 bars of G, 2 bars of E minor, C, D, G, exactly the same. But we're going to play it like, while the violins are going on, we're going to go. It's just a nice little, sort of changes it up a little bit. So let's have a look at that strumming pattern. So we've got the 2 bars of G. Now you see the little staples that I said previously, those mean down. So you've got 2 downstrokes. The V means up. So you've got 2 downs, 2 ups, and then another down. 2 downs, 2 ups, and then another down. Down, down, up, down. Down, down, up, down. With a G chord. And I'd like you to do that for the entire instrumental section. Like I said, if you're struggling with that pattern and you haven't come across it before, I'll have a look in the description. I did a video probably about 18 months ago where that's the sole focus of the video. It's a 5 or 6 minute video, and it'll break that down for you if you need it, just explaining to you in a different way to the way that I've just done. So we come out of the instrumental section, and following that, we're then going to play a double chorus. Can you see it's the only time you're going to double up on a chorus in this song? You see the repeat markers, and we go back to and it fades out from there. So you've 1 or 2 bits for this song. You've either got the muted part or the strumming part, and it's the same 8 bar progression that just goes round and round and round. But I think you'll agree the mute part for this was really interesting. It sets it apart from anything else that we've looked at here on YouTube before. If you're a member of the Academy, I'd urge you to check out the technical focus lesson for this, where I teach you the bass line that you can sort of put over it if you like. And there's also a playthrough. If you want to see exactly how and where I'm putting those rests in, I'd urge you to check that out. It's the second link in the description. So what sort of beginner's song do you think would be interesting and you'd like to see me cover? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next week for another guitar lesson. Thanks for watching.